Joe Rospars, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Welcome to Le Buzz Média Orange Le Figaro. You are the co-founder of Blue State Digital and you were director of new media on Barack Obama's presidential campaign. An experience you will share tomorrow at a conference organized by XS Conseil. I would like to start by having a look at one of your achievements in your role on the Obama campaign. It's 13 million. It's a number of emails you collected during the campaign. How was this useful for the election?
It was useful because it provided us an opportunity to have a direct relationship with 13 million people who were interested in the campaign, but also were interested in how they could be part of the campaign and help. And so we were able to ask them to contribute $5 or make some phone calls or knock on some doors and to talk to them about the state of the race.
How do you make someone who's interested switch to participate?
Part of it was cultivating a sense of community and letting people know not just what Obama was doing, but what the other 13 million people were doing to help. So telling the stories not just of Obama and his family and his advisors, but of telling the stories of the supporters themselves and the work that they were doing for the campaign.
Mm-hmm. In 2004, you also participated in the Howardine campaign, with a little bit less success than for Barack Obama. How was 2008 special? What was different? Maybe was your role facilitated by the coming of age of social media, online video?
Well, in 2008, obviously, we had Barack Obama, who's a very special guy, and a lot of people identify a lot of special characteristics about him, but the one that I think made the most difference was his experience as a community organizer as a young man, which meant that he wanted to run a specific kind of campaign, one that was open to ordinary people's participation, one that cultivated leadership, and one that would leave the political process better off for having run the campaign that way, whether we won or lost. And so that was the electricity that ran through our organization from the very top to the bottom, to the volunteers and interns, and that was something that it's difficult to replicate, but that's something that every organization can take a lesson from.
Did you anticipate that the campaign would be sort of a social media campaign model?
Well, we knew that we had a challenge in front of us that was different than the other candidates. We had somebody who didn't have a national network of fundraisers or supporters. He wasn't part of the institutional party. He had just finished paying off his student loans a couple of years ago. So we had to run things organically and from the bottom up, and that naturally goes through the digital space.
Are there new online channels that exist today that didn't exist in 2008 that you would have liked to use?
I mean, Twitter is a whole different ballgame now. There's a level of conversation and especially penetration of the political conversation that wasn't there before. At the beginning, though, YouTube wasn't even as big as it is today, and so our strategies evolved from January 2007 to November 2008. Our strategies look different because of the emerging landscape.
Mm-hmm. One could have expected that the kind of campaign Obama led in 2008 could have inspired other political parties. It wasn't really the case in the recent UK elections. What is your vision of what happened in the UK last month?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that the different parties adopted different technologies and had a team of folks working in headquarters, but in most cases they used the tools to play the same old kind of game and to use the tools to try to win the daily news cycle or influence journalists or to try to push the party election broadcast to the sort of undecided voters, and it's a different game than trying to use these tools to play outside and to try to use them to get out of the culture of London or Washington and try to get into the conversation with ordinary people and get them talking about politics and helping you win.
Get into conversations is also something that brands are very interested in. Are there some lessons to be learned from the Obama campaigns for brands?
There are. I think there's authenticity is a big takeaway from the campaign for us, and so the more that brands can connect authentically with the people who really care about the products, that's an opportunity for people to express themselves and be really and express their passion for something. There are, we all have our favorite products, whether it's a beer or a car or whatever it is, and if brands can open up, and I think that's the key word is open, then people's passion can be helpful.
Another important promise of Barack Obama was being more open, be a more transparent government, and he's sort of a leader in the open open data movement. How could a citizen push to his government to open up its data when it's not coming from like the president himself, like it's the case in the US?
I think it's raising the questions. I mean, a lot of what's happened in terms of the different agencies opening up. So not just the White House is open, but things like the Federal Communications Commission and the Department of Energy and things like that that have different work going on. It's part of the conversation to say, why shouldn't this be open? And so that was the conversation changer that Obama brought in with his administration, was that the default question became not why should we release this, but why shouldn't we release this? And that puts a different kind of burden on everyone at every different level of government who's making a decision. And so that's the key question for activists or for NGOs and other people who are trying to get at data that the government is using.
And on the government side, is it something that would make the government more efficient, or on the contrary, is it risky because of some leak of sensitive information?
Well, it's not really risky if you're not doing anything that you shouldn't be doing in most cases. So what you see is, it actually makes government better, because the watchdog groups and the NGOs can take the data, or ordinary citizens can take data and visualize it in interesting ways, or find things that maybe no one was looking for. And that all makes government more efficient and more accountable, and hopefully actually more interesting to work in for the people in public service, but also for people who are watching and hoping that the government does interesting and good things.
Okay, thank you. One last question: will we see you again in 2012?
I hope not. I hope everything's okay, and that the president will be reelected without needing any special help from me. I think it'll be a good one.
Ok, thank you. Joe Rospars, merci. Rendez-vous demain pour une nouvelle édition du Buzz Média Orange Le Figaro.